why we should vote for you.
Yes, why should you vote for me? I am a small business owner. I'm a father of, I'm a PTA father with 2 kids in public schools, so I care the schools. And I'm a Rotarian of 13 years perfect attendance. And that, keep in mind, is commitment and hard working for the community. And also, I was born and grew up in China and immigrated to this country 23 years ago and became a U.S. citizen in 1999. And that was the proud moment. I am American by choice. And I have not been in public office before, and that exactly I think is my strength. And I'm a quick learner and hard worker. And if you don't believe, just see where I'm coming from and where I am today. That is the testimony.
Kurt?
Why should you send me back? I want to say that it has been an honor, for those of you who live in the 5th State Senate District, it's been an honor to be your state senator, of course, which y'all hired to go down there. It's our district, but it's, I'm just the person that you hired to go down there 2 years. Oh, is that working now? All right. It has been an honor to be your senator in the 5th District these last 6 years, and I've also served in the House 2 years before that, so I've been down there 8 years, and I've truly been blessed. I've been able to work across lines to get bills passed. It was mentioned that I'm a Democrat. A Democrat doesn't get bills passed without working across lines, and I've still been successful down there. I've helped to get 3 CIDs started in our district. Most famously, I guess, the Gwinnett Village CID, which takes up the largest southern end of our district. And if you re-elect me, as you rehire me, and I just look at this basically as I'm reapplying for the job you hired me for 2 years ago, I will continue to be fighting for you to create jobs, improve education, and solve our transportation problems.
Kurt, keep your mic just for a minute there. All of you out there, first of all, if you don't have a seat, there's a seat in almost every one of these offices, and there are 2 empty seats up here. If you'd like to sit, go ahead and come on up and sit. You won't bother anybody, just come on up and sit. There are also more chairs if you want to pull them out of some of those offices. And now tell us, the state is in some pretty dire financial situations. We've had budget cuts over the last couple of years because the income hasn't matched the outgo. What other areas do you think we can cut?
It's really hard to look at that and say, I mean, we've basically cut things to the bare bones at this point. I think that we need to start getting creative. And by creative, I'm not necessarily talking about raising taxes, but I am talking about modernizing our tax code. Our tax code was written in 1936. We've just been amending it ever since. It's for an economy that doesn't exist anymore, Georgia that doesn't exist anymore. We spend most of our time giving away tax incentives to big businesses to locate here, far away from our district, to be quite honest. When the vast majority of jobs in the modern 21st century economy come from small businesses. And rather than giving away these taxes, I think we need to modernize our tax code. I also think that we've got to focus on tax collection also.
Gary, how about you?
Yes, I realize our state is facing a serious budget deficit, and this is almost across the nation. Under the current economic condition, that is quite understandable. However, I want to remind everybody that we did not have this problem when the economy was good. And I guess because of that, our government gets spoiled and expanded the program just too many and too much. And then now we're facing the problem because of the current economic conditions. And I want to emphasize on one of the things to reduce the deficit, of course, is wherever we can see it's not essential part cut. However, there are also a way that without raising taxes or adding other fees to increase the revenue, that is to create more jobs and grow our economy. And that is very simple. If we have more people to pay taxes and we will have more revenue.
Gary, keep in mind, should we spend more money to expand MARTA in Gwinnett County?
Well, I'm a MARTA supporter, and I want to mention some of my background. I have served on MARTA Marketing Advisory Committee for 7 years, and working very hard with the public transportation system. And I definitely will support MARTA, but maybe also some other form of public transportation, because it will be needed and will help our economy.
Trey, the same question.
I guess the answer is if economic comes and if the economy can be turned around, we've got to invest in mass transit. In order to have a world-class city, you've got to have a world-class transportation system. I have supported expanding and allowing the MARTA trains to come into Gwinnett County, not the MARTA bus lines, but I have done that. And regardless of the name you put on it, whether it's MARTA or a player to be named later, we've got to have a world-class mass transit system. We won't have that if our state doesn't actually invest in it.
Two questions coming up on this. A lot of people are concerned about education in the state. Gwinnett, of course, is the finest education system in the entire world. So we've expanded a little bit here. But we were just voted best in the U.S. anyway. So we've got some problems. So the rest of the state hasn't caught up. What do you do about education? And what about charter schools? And how do you make sure they stay independent?
Well, I've had the I guess, pleasure of getting to vote for, during my 8 years in office, every charter school bill that's come up. I'm a big supporter of charter schools. I also think that we need to be considering in Gwinnett County, although that's very case, the responsibility of magnet schools and expanding and instituting international baccalaureate programs in other schools. Not that I don't like the fact that Norcross has it. I just think that for folks that live in Grayson, that's probably a bit of a drive. And if we're looking at this on a statewide level, I think anything we can do to expand that and to expand innovation in public education, we've got to support, and I've supported that in the past. Does that answer your
That's got it. Let's get Gary. How about you on that?
As I already mentioned, I'm a PTA dad, so you know education is definitely here in my heart. That's immediate. I felt with Emory parents here. And on top of that, also education plays such an important role for our economy, for any company who would be potentially looking to locate in our area. So I know as we heard that Gwinnett already get to be the top in the metro of the whole nation, and I'm very proud of that. However, we do still need to work to improve a lot. And one of the things, I agree with Kurt, and I support charter school idea, but we also need to look at any other different, like multimedia or online or any other way that is feasible, and then encourage that innovation to help improve our education system. And on top of that, we need to give the school districts more say, give the teacher more say, give the parents more say in our education. And that is the key to improve it.
Gary, I'll ask you one last question. You hold the microphone. What do you want to accomplish? What's the first thing you want to do?
Okay. Since this is the most important thing, as I have been canvassing in throughout the state, at the district, and it's almost $3,600 I have logged, and almost the overwhelming majority of the concern by the folks in the district are the economy and the jobs. And I have looked into this seriously. One of the things that we are currently at an economic tailspin, and we are facing in the situation that our own domestic buying power is declining because a lot of people lost their jobs. And the people who still have their job hold on to their money, does not want to spend. And that's not a good picture how to create jobs. So one of the things I see is that if we don't have the buying market here, look somewhere else. We're in the global economy. I will be the salesman for state of Georgia and go to China, India, Asia, where the economy is still strong, sell our products and services, create more jobs here at home.
I serve on the Appropriations Committee now because I have the seniority to do that at this point. I think the biggest thing that I will be working on next year, if y'all decide to send me back down there, is how do we navigate the budget? How do we